All right, guys, 10.1. We're only doing 10.1 and 10.2. And then we're going to go on to chapter 7. Girls, I need you with me, please. We are talking about three-dimensional stuff, all right? You already know the distance formula. You already know the midpoint formula. You already know all of this stuff that we're going to do today. It's just a matter of adding an extra letter. So we're used to our coordinate plane, or our Cartesian plane where it's x and y, right? We have an x-axis and a y-axis. Now we're introducing a third axis. It's the z. It makes things three-dimensional. We're not going to do a lot with plotting points or anything like that. Just understand that this is what your 3D plane would look like. Do you see how there's an XY, there's an XZ, there's a YZ, the different faces, like the front, the side, the bottom, that sort of a thing. It can be right-handed or left-handed. Again, you guys don't need to worry about anything like that. If you are going to plot, which you guys, we're not going to do, but if you are about to, if you have an ordered triple is what this is called. This is your x value. The first one is x, the second one is y, the third one is z. So just understand that when you have an ordered triple, it's not going to say x equals y equals, it's just going to be x, y, and z in alphabetical order. So we're going to go through the mechanics of finding distance and stuff like that. You guys are familiar with the distance formula, yes? So if you're finding the distance between 2 points in space in a three-dimensional, it's the same distance formula that you guys have done before with the x and the y, but now you just have the extra letter. So how would we set this up? Well, here's my two ordered triples. This is your x, your y, and your z. This is the other x, the other y, the other z. So very basic, guys. You would just say it's the difference of the x's. So 0 minus 1 squared plus what? 1 minus 4 squared plus 3 minus negative 2 squared. Everybody with me? Same distance that you guys have done before. We just have the extra letter here. So what is 0 minus 1? It's going to be negative 1 squared plus 1 minus 4 is negative 3 squared plus what? 5 squared. Good. And now, remember, you should never have a negative underneath here because when you square a negative number, it becomes what? Positive. So negative 1 squared is 1 plus negative 3 squared is 9 plus 5 squared is 25. Everybody with me? So what's 1 plus 9? 10 plus 25? So square 35. If you can break that down, what should we do? Break it down. If you can't, just leave it. So what is the distance between these 2 points? What is the distance between these 2 points in space? Root 35. If you can break it down, go ahead. You guys are not going to have a calculator. It's just going to be super basic mathematics. But this is nothing that you guys have never seen before, other than we're introducing an extra variable. All right? You guys okay with that? Now, if they ask you to find the midpoint, you guys remember how to find the midpoint between 2 points on an xy? You add the x's, divide by 2. Add the y's, divide by 2. In this case, we also have a z value. So what do? Add the z's and divide by 2. So to find the midpoint here, I have 5 plus 0 divided by 2, comma, negative 2 plus 4 divided by 2, comma, 3 plus 4 divided by 2. So what is 5 plus 0? 5 divided by 2 just gives me 5 over 2. If you want to leave it like that, that's fine. What's negative 2 plus 4? 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Good. And then 3 plus 4 is 7. So you can leave it as 7 over 2. If you want to change it to a decimal, that's fine. Everybody okay? I think on the notes I duplicated one slide. Did I? I think so. All right, so the equation of a sphere. If I took this off, if this wasn't here, what is this the equation of? Anybody remember? X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Anybody remember what that's the equation of? It is the circle. Very good. So now, guys, we have a sphere. A sphere is just pretty much a three-dimensional circle, right? So if in order to write the equation, you have x minus h, that's the x part, y minus k, that's the y part, and now we have z minus j, that's the z part of your ordered pair. So remember, if I have something like, say this is x minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared plus z plus 2 squared equals whatever. When you pull this out of the equation, what happens to the numbers? When I pull out this right here, this 3, what does it become? Positive. When I pull out this 4, what does it become? Negative. When I pull out this 2, what does it become? Negative. Remember, the signs are opposite because inside of our original, it's a negative sign. So just remember that. If you're given the equation, when you pull, God bless you, when you pull the numbers out, they switch signs. So if you're given the point and you put it into the equation, you have to remember that as well. So your equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. You guys all know that already. Plus, and then you have z minus j squared equals your radius squared. Here's your x, here's your y, here's your z, here's your r. You're going to have everything given to you. So when I plug this in to write the equation, it's x minus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared plus z what? Minus 3 squared. And then what is my r squared? Perfect. Perfect. So if I gave you guys this, I said x minus 4 squared plus y plus 5 squared plus z minus 1 squared equals 12. And I said to you, what is the center of this sphere? What would you guys tell me the center is? 4, negative 5, positive 1. Agreed? And then what would your radius be? Square root of 12? Okay. Now, can I just leave it like that? No. What would that break down to? 4 times 3, which would become 2 square root of 3. Everybody good? Everybody okay? All right. See, this is not that bad, right? It's always not that bad. There you go. All right. Now we're going to do a little bit of math here. It says find the center and the radius. If I give you the equation in the form of x minus h, y minus k, you can just pull it out. You can just say, okay, the center is bop, 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 bop. But this case, this is not the case here. So you're just going to have to do completing the square. Do a little reminder of how to complete the square. You want to get all your x's together, all your y's together, all your z's together, and move your constants to the other side. So let's reorder this. I have x squared. What goes with x squared? Okay, so minus 2x, and I'm going to leave a space. Then I'm going to pull my y's together. So I have plus y squared plus 4y plus, I'm going to leave a space. Remember, it's always plus because we're going to, when we complete the square, you're going to square the number. And then the last thing I have is my z's. What do I have for z? Z squared minus 6z plus, leave a space. And what do I do with that 8? Moves to the other side. So it becomes what? Negative 8. All right, so now we're just going to complete the square, guys, 3 times. How do we do that? Anybody remember? You take the b term and divide it by what? There you go. What is negative 2 divided by 2? Negative 1. So my parenthesis here becomes x minus 1 squared. And then I square negative 1. What happens when you square negative 1? Positive 1. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. So now I have plus, do the same thing. I'm going to take my b term. 4 divided by 2 gives me what? 2. So my parenthesis here is y plus 2 squared. And then when I square 2, what does that become? 4. What you do to one side, you do to the other. And then I have my z's. So I have plus, take your z, negative 6 divided by 2 is what? Negative 3, so z minus 3 squared. And then when you square negative 3, what does that become? 9, so add to the other side. What is negative 8 plus 1? Negative 8 plus 1. Negative 7, okay, plus 4. Negative 3 plus 9 is, and there's your equation. Do you guys see the equation? So, did we answer the question yet? No, it says find the center and the radius. Can you now identify the center from this equation that we have? Yes, what is the center? Positive 1, negative 2, positive 3, and what's the radius? The square root of 6. Perfect. So when you do not have your equation of the sphere written in this form, here, you just have to complete the square. And it's just going to be 3 times. We'll practice a little more. All right, last thing. When they ask you to sketch the XY or the YZ or whatever, okay, what they're asking you in each specific question is a part of the sphere, but not in all 3 dimensions, just in 2. So in this case, when they want the XY, they want this piece up here where it touches the X and the Y. Again, you guys aren't super concerned about that. I understand that. How do you find it? All right, let me show you. It's super easy. First of all, identify what part they want. They want the XY trace, correct? You guys see that? It says XY. So what do we do to figure this out? Whatever letters they're looking for, you leave. It says the XY trace, so you leave it. You plug in 0 for the letter that they do not talk about. They do not mention. If it said the XZ trace, what would you plug in 0 for? The Y. If it said the YZ, you would plug in 0 for X. So exactly what I just said, guys, is exactly what you do. You have X minus 3 squared plus Y minus 2 squared plus, what number am I plugging in for Z? So 0 plus 4 squared equals, what's 5 squared? 25. Perfect. So now, what is 0 plus 4? 4 squared is, so this is, you guys agree this is plus 16? All right, so what do I do with that 16 now? I'm going to subtract from both sides. So it's X minus 3 squared plus Y minus 2 squared equals, what's 25 minus 16? There you go. That's it. Whenever they ask you for a specific trace, sketch the X, Y, the Z, whatever letter they do not mention, you just plug in 0 for in the equation and then solve it. That's it. See that here? Hold on 1 second. You also could write it. It could be written like this, guys. Either way. Yes, example 5. Which one? Here? No, up here. Okay.
You said it has to be the opposite sign. But like, if it's a negative 1, like why wasn't it X plus 1? Or like Z plus 3?
See, since this is X minus 1, when you pull it out to give the center, the sign changes.
Okay.
Since this is plus 2, when you pull it out, the sign changes. And that, ladies and gents,